Hi, I'm Bonnie Barker with BonnieBayCrochet.com, and you've come to the Friends Around the World 3 2018 Crochet Along, and this is square number 7. This is by Patrina Hollis, and it's called Te Puna Aio. Let's take a look at the square before we get started. Now you can use any number of colors, or you could just use a solid color for this square. It's really up to you. You can change the colors as many or as few as you'd like and use whatever colors you would like. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be using primarily Red Heart Super Saver, and I'm supplementing with another brand, but it is 100% acrylic. I'm going to be using white, brown, and blue. And I'm also going to be using my size H, just like we've done before, which is a 5.00 millimeter crochet hook. I'm also recommending that you have a yarn needle handy, especially if you're going to make your square multicolored, and a pair of scissors. As in the other videos, I'm encouraging you to please go ahead and print out a copy of this. It is free. Just look at the links in the video description below. You'll also find the link to the blog for this Friends Around the World Crochet Along, and you'll also find a link to the Facebook page where you can post your finished items, or maybe even look at the colors that others are choosing who are following this, people really from all around the world. The square begins with an invisible join, so let's go ahead and take our yarn, and the way I do this is I wrap my fingers twice. Again, if you have your own way of doing this, feel free to do that. Go ahead and reach your hook under, and we're pulling the long strand that's actually attached to our yarn source. And we're going to make a chain 1. Now I'm going to work the stitches going into the center here. And let's see, the pattern says that we are going to work 1/2 double crochet. So let's go ahead and do that. 1/2 double crochet and then a chain 1, and we're going to do that 12 times. So that's 2, 3. I'm going to go ahead and do this 12 times. That's working the 1/2 double crochet with the chain 1 in between. Now that I have 12 of these in the circle, I'm going to go ahead and pull up that loop so that stitch doesn't come out, and I'm going to try closing this circle. If I put my fingers inside the circle, sometimes it makes it easier on the strings. Now we're going to pull this a little tighter, but not too terribly tight. Okay, that's probably good, right about like that. The directions at the beginning of this say to end with a slip stitch to the first stitch, so we're going to go ahead and do that with a slip stitch. You can also use an invisible join if you'd like. I'm actually going to just use the slip stitch because I find that a little bit faster, a little bit easier for me, especially since these rounds are going to be covered with other stitching, so you're really not going to see these enclosure points for the most part. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep the same color for round 2. If you wanted to change colors, that's up to you. The instructions say to change color as often or as little as you like. So it's wide open for you there. Okay, so the next round, after we've slip stitched to that first space, we're going to make 1 popcorn stitch in the chain 1 space. To make our first popcorn, we're going to chain 3. And this chain 3 does count as a double crochet in this popcorn. So now we're going to work in the chain 1 space. We're going to work 3 more double crochets. After we work those 3 double crochets, we're going to pull up a loop. We're actually going to go into the first stitch, and I'm going to grab, I guess, the stitch here in the chain. And we're going to put that loop back on our hook and then pull through. And then after we do that, we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip the next stitch and we're going to work in the next chain 1 space. We're going to make another popcorn, but since it's not the starting popcorn, this is the way the rest of them are going to work. You're going to make 4 double crochets in that same space. Pull up a loop, and then go ahead and insert your hook into that first double crochet of that cluster, and then hook the yarn loop over the hook and go ahead and pull it through. And then we're going to chain 3 more. 1, 2, 3, and on to the next. Skip the next stitch, working in that next chain 1 space, 4 double crochets for the next popcorn. Pull up the loop, insert hook into that first stitch, and hook, put that loop over the hook and pull through, and then chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3, and go ahead and work that all the way around until you have 12 popcorn stitches. At the end of this round, I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round, and you should have 12 popcorns around in your circle. Alright, I think I'm going to change my color, so I'm going to actually fasten off and hide my loose end, and then I will start with my next color. For those of you who are new to this and this is your first video in this series, I just wanted to give you a quick tutorial on how to hide these loose ends. And what I would normally do is just thread my yarn needle, and you can go around under the other loops of the stitches just as easily as this. Make sure you do this from the back side, so we want to make sure that we don't have any of these loose ends showing on the front side. And then after you've done that, go ahead and clip very carefully. Make sure that you clip this strand without clipping your work. Okay, so I got 1 more to hide, and then I'll be ready to start round number 3. Okay, now I'm going to start round number 3. I'm going to be using my brown color. And I'm going to go ahead and make my slip knot. And you can join to any of the chain 3 spaces around. I'm going to go ahead and chain 3, and that is going to count as a double crochet in what I'm going to do here with the corners. Okay, I'm going to make 2 more double crochets. Then I'm going to chain 2, and then 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and you notice that I did crochet over this strand right here. And since I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and give it a clip, so I don't have to hide that again or look at it anymore. Okay, so after we've done that, now we're going to, in the next chain 3 space, we're going to work 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do that 2 times. In the next, we're going to work 3 half double crochets. 2, 3. Okay, now it says to repeat that 2 times. We've done that. And then go back to the asterisk and repeat 3 times. That will give us our 4 corners. And so in the next chain 3 space, we're going to go back to forming a corner, which is going to be 3 double crochets. Let's not get our double crochets and our half double crochets mixed up, okay? I know that's easy to do once that muscle memory kicks in, but we have to keep them straight. So the corners are using those double crochets, so 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and then the next 2 chain 3s, we're going to work, whoops, there I go. See how easy it is to do? We're going back to half double crochets now. 1, 2, 3 on the half double crochet, that's that shorter stitch, and then 3 half double crochets in that next chain 3. Let's stop and see what we have here. Look how nicely that corner that square is starting to form. Now, after working those 2 sets of those 3 half double crochets, it's time to form another corner. And so we're back to working with double crochets. Go ahead and work 3 double crochets, a chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 more double crochets. So go ahead and repeat that the rest of the way around the square. At the end of this round, I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3. Now I'm going to maintain the same color going into round 4, and there is a note by the author of this square that says if you're not changing color, just slip stitch to the corner chain space each time and then work the corner stitches followed by the side stitches all around. This pattern is written in a more simplistic way, which has let me go ahead and let you look at this a second. She has the corners listed and then the description of what you should have on the sides, okay, and then you have the final stitch count over here, which is a different way of doing it, but it's very practical too. So for the next round, we're going to have 1 DC, chain 2, 1 DC in all the corners, and that's very clear, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 12 stitches. So we're simply going to be working double crochets all the way around. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to keep the color the same for this next round, so I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch my way to the corner like this. Now obviously I'm going to need a chain, so the chain 3 is going to be my double crochet, and then I'll chain 2 more for my chain 2, and that will form the corner, and then 1 more double crochet because for these corners it's just 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet. Now we're going to double crochet in each stitch across. We should have 12 all the way across. So go ahead and do those next 12 double crochets. When we get to the corner, we're going to again work the double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet for the corner. So go ahead and continue that all the way around. At the end of this round, I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top, actually the 3rd chain of that turning chain, which actually works as a double crochet in that turning corner. Okay, I'm going to fasten off because I'm going to be changing my yarn color for the next round. And I'm also going to go ahead and hide my loose ends. For round 5, I'm going to be using my light blue yarn. For each of the corners, we're going to make 2 half double crochets, a chain 2, 2 half double crochets, and we're going to be working back post half double crochets into the stitches across the row. So let's go ahead, and I'll start this with I'm going to go ahead and do a standing half double crochet for that first stitch, and we're going to do 2 of those, again joining in any corner around, chain 2, and then 2 more of these half double crochets. I'm going to actually, since this stitch is pretty well hidden now, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of housework here and clean that up so I don't have to worry with it. Now the directions do say to skip the first stitch. Now we're going to do back post half double crochets into the next 13 stitches. So that's 1. For those of you who've never done a back post half double crochet, you just wrap the hook like you're getting ready for your stitch, bring the hook around from the back side, around the front, and then back out the back side again. It's kind of like giving it a belt. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all of the strands on the hook, and that's all there is to that. I'll do it again real slow. Yarn over, come in from the back side, your hook's going to go all the way around the hook, out the back door, pull up a loop carefully, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on the hook. So go ahead and do that across until you get to the next corner. So I've gone all the way across, and do make sure that you have 13 stitches. You do work the last stitch, but as a reminder, you don't work the front stitch. Okay, now we get to the corner, we work 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more half double crochets into that chain 2 space, and then we're going to do that all the way around. I'll just get the next side started. Remember, we skipped that first stitch, then we come around the back door for that back post, half double crochet on the next stitch. So go ahead and work this all the way around. At the end of this round, I'm going to join with a slip stitch to that first half double crochet of the round, and then I'm going to fasten off and hide my loose strand. This is what we have at the end of 5 rounds. Okay, you can join in any chain 2 corner, and I'm going to go ahead and make my slip knot so I can go ahead and make a standing double crochet, and each corner is going to have 1 double crochet, chain 3, and 1 double crochet. That is a little bit different, so make sure that you're chaining 3 in those corners instead of 2, so we keep following these directions. Okay, now that we have finished our corner, we're going to work something called a cross stitch. It's going to be worked in through the top loops of the stitches from round 5. We're going to skip the hidden stitch at the beginning of each side as we go across. Then we're going to skip the next stitch, and in the next stitch we're going to work a double crochet, and now working in front of that double crochet we're going to work in this skipped stitch. So go ahead, it's a little tricky, insert your hook and go ahead and put that double crochet in the next stitch just like that, and we're going to do that all the way across. We're going to skip the next stitch. Now be careful that you don't think this is the next stitch. Actually, this is the next stitch. So we're going to skip this stitch and then work in the one right beside it at the double crochet, and then going back, working in front of that stitch, we're going to work a double crochet in the stitch here that we just skipped. So you get this crossing effect. Okay, I'll do this one more time. Skip the next stitch and then double crochet in the stitch right next to that. Working in front of that stitch, go ahead and double crochet in that stitch right in front. And as you saw that, I'll do it one more time. Skip the next stitch, double crochet, next stitch. Sometimes it's easy to just go in and then pull those loops out like that, so that you know that you are going to be working in those loops. Okay, so go ahead and work that all the way across the side. So I've finished working across the side, and you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total of those. Now you get to the corner, and again we're going to work a double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then a double crochet in that corner. And you can go ahead and repeat that all the way around actually, but I'm going to show you how to start this side one more time. This is the hidden stitch that we're not going to use. We're going to skip the next stitch, and then we double crochet in the one right next to that. So it's actually 3 stitches over to start this, and then working in front of that stitch we're going to double crochet in the second of the stitches, if I can get that, there we go, that were skipped. Okay, so go ahead and work that all the way around. At the end of this round, we join with a slip stitch to that first double crochet of the round. And I'm going to go ahead and fasten off because I'm going to be changing colors. Now, just as a reminder that if you are making this all one solid color, you can just simply slip stitch to the next chain 2 or chain 3 corner and just continue on. I'm going to go ahead now. Let's take a look at our square. I'm going to go ahead and hide these loose ends. For round number 7, I'm going to use my brown color again, And I'm going to start with a standing half double crochet in the chain 2 corner. I'm going to actually do 2 half double crochets, 1, 2, and then we're going to do a chain 2, 1, 2, and then 2 more half double crochets. I am also going to go ahead and trim off this strand since I've already crocheted 4 stitches over it. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And we're going to skip our first stitch and then of each side as we go across, and we're going to half double crochet in each of the next 17 stitches all the way across. So that's what this repeat looks like. 2 half double crochets, chain 2, 2 half double crochets, and then 1 half double crochet after we've skipped this stitch, 1 half double crochet in each of the next 17 stitches. Now I'm ready to end this round. I'm going to work a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round, and I'm going to go ahead and keep this color for the next round. So I'm going to slip stitch my way into the next stitch, and then another slip stitch into that chain 2 corner. And now I'm going to chain 3 for the first double crochet of that corner for round 8. Then I'm going to chain 3 more, and that is going to be the corner, and then another double crochet. Okay, so just briefly again, 3 chains here represent the double crochet, and then 3 more chains for that corner, and then a double crochet. Now as we work across each side of the square in round 8, we're going to chain 1, we're going to skip the first stitch or the next stitch, and then double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch. We're going to do that 10 times across the side. After repeating that 10 times across, we should have, we're going to chain 1, we're going to skip the last stitch, and then we'll go ahead and work our corner, which will be a double crochet, chain 3, and then another double crochet. So I'll start you on the next side. We're going to chain 1, skip the first stitch, and double crochet in that next stitch, and again chain 1, skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next, and go ahead and work that all the way across and actually around the rest of the square. This round ends by joining with a slip stitch, and I'm going to be putting this in my chain. Now if you worked a double crochet, then it would be the top of your double crochet. Do a slip stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and fasten off because I'm going to be switching back to my light blue color for round number 9. And I'm going to go ahead and hide my loose threads, and this is what I have so far. Because of the way these corners are worked for round number 9, I'm going to go ahead and start in the first stitch of the side, which happens to also be one of the corner stitches. I'm going to go ahead and working up through the, let's go ahead and try this again. Put our hook in. I'm going to be making a standing half double crochet right here in that stitch. Now for the next stitch, we're actually going to be working a treble crochet in the stitch below, the first stitch that was skipped right down here. So we're going to go ahead and make a treble crochet there, and then a half double crochet in that next stitch, and then a treble crochet again going down. I believe that's row number 7. And make sure that you do keep this chain behind the stitch just like that. So go ahead and work that all the way across until you get to the first corner, and then I will show you how to work that. As you've worked across, you should have 11 of the half double crochets followed by the trebles, and then after the 11 sets you should have a half double crochet in that last stitch, which brings us to the corner. And in the corner we're going to work, now as we get to the corner, we're going to work a treble in this space, and then a half double crochet up in the chain 2 above where we are working chain 2, another half double crochet up on that current row, and then a treble down below here in that chain 2 space back on round 7. Okay, so we get this effect. Alright, now we're back to working a half double crochet in that first stitch, and then a treble crochet, if we can get that, there we go, treble crochet in that stitch down on row 7, half double crochet, and then a treble crochet on that stitch down below. So go ahead and work that all the way around. Now that we come to the last corner, we go ahead and work the treble crochet, the half double crochet. And remember, the treble is worked back on this row, or round rather, and then the half double on the current round, chain 2, another half double crochet, and then another treble down there on round number 7, chain 2 corner, and then we're going to join with the slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. And I'm going to go ahead and fasten off because I'm changing to a different color. So I'll go ahead and fasten this round off, and I'm going to hide my loose ends. And let's go ahead and take a look at what we have so far. I'm really enjoying this square too. This is really a lot of fun. A lot of good eye candy, as they say. Okay, let's go ahead, hide those loose strands, and then go on to round number 10. For round number 10, I'm going to be going back to my white color. I'm going to go ahead and get my slip knot ready and join to any chain 2 corner of the round. And for these corners, we're going to have 1 half double crochet, chain 2, 1 half double crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and get my standing half double crochet, chain 2, and then another half double crochet so that we have our corner ready. Now this is the repeat that we're going to work all the way across. We're going to have a 1 front post double crochet. We're going to work that right around that half double. Okay, and then after that we're going to work a half double crochet in that treble crochet. So for that next stitch we're going to work a front post double crochet. Now that was around the join there, but see how nicely this stitch kind of hides that join, and then a half double crochet, front post stitch around the next. Let's try that again. Having a hard time for some reason. Okay, front post, and then half double crochet through the top loops, front post. Let me try that one again. Front post double crochet, make sure I get it around the right part of the stitch, and then a half double crochet, front post double crochet, and then a half double crochet. So go ahead and work that all across to the next corner. So as we've worked across, we should have this repeat of the front post double crochet and then the half double crochet. There should be 13 repeats of that, plus an additional front post double crochet, and then again in the corners we're working a half double crochet, chain 2, and a half double crochet. So let's go ahead and work that all the way around, and I'll start you off again. For this first half double crochet we do a front post double, and then we do a half double crochet, alternating that all the way across. So go ahead and actually go ahead and work this all the way around your square. This round ends with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round, and I'm going to go ahead and fasten off because I'm going to be changing my yarn colors once again. So we're going to go ahead and let's take a look. This is after 10 rounds. I'm going to go ahead and fasten off, actually hide these loose ends, and then we're going to start the next round. For round number 11, I'm returning back to my brown color, and we're going to go and get my slip knot ready. And in each corner, we're going to work 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 double crochets. So I'm going to make 1 double crochet, this chain 3, and there's another double crochet, and then chain 2, and then we're going to do another double crochet, another double crochet. Okay, now along the edges, we're going to work 1 double crochet. We're going to skip the first stitch, but then we're going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next stitches, and you should have about 28 or exactly 28 stitches across until you get to the next corner. So let's go ahead and work those 28 double crochets. After working the 28 double crochets across, go ahead and work the corner again, and that's going to be 2 double crochets followed by a chain 2 and then 2 more double crochets, and that's going to be the repeat all the way around this square for this round. So you're going to have 28 double crochets, and then the corners 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. So go ahead and work that all the way around. This round ends with a slip stitch to the top of that first stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and fasten off because I'm going to be using a different color yarn for the next round. I'm also going to go ahead and hide the loose ends before I begin the next round. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. Okay, really like the colors coming out there. For round number 12, I'm going to start with my light blue color. I've already got my slip knot, and we're going to make a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet in the corner. So I'm going to go ahead and work my chain 3 for that first double crochet, and then chain 3 again for the actual turning chain or chain in the corner, and then I'm going to put another double crochet for the corner section here, and then we're going to work what we did before. We're going to skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and working in front of that stitch we're going to work a double crochet in that skipped stitch, just like that all the way across. You should have 16 of these when we reach the next corner. I'll do a couple more with you. Skip the next stitch, double crochet in that next stitch, working in front of that stitch, go ahead and work a double crochet in the top of that stitch that we just skipped. So go ahead and work that all the way across, and I'll show you the corner before going forward. Once you get to the corner, it's going to be a double crochet, chain 3, and then a double crochet in that corner, just like so, and then just continue working those cross stitches all the way across. Go ahead and finish that all the way around. At the end of this round, I'm just going to draw with a slip stitch, in my case to the top of that chain 3, which acts as my double crochet, and I'm going to continue on with the same yarn for round number 13. So I'm not going to fasten off. If you want to change the color, you can. To begin round 13, I'm going to just go ahead and slip stitch into the next chain 2 space, since I'm not going to be changing my color, and I'm going to chain 1 and then do a standing half double crochet and then another half double crochet, because we're going to be working 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 half double crochets for those corners of the square. So I'll go ahead and give you a look at the corner there. 2 half double crochet, chain 2, 2 half double crochet, and we are simply going to work half double crochets all the way across. So by the time you go across, starting with this half double crochet, you should have 34 stitches across, and then if you add these two, that would be 36, and then if you add these corner on the other side, that will be 38. So you'll have, including the corners, you'll have 38 stitches across on every side. So go ahead and finish that round. Round 13 ends with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. I'm going to go ahead and give it a chain, fasten off, and I'm going to hide my loose strand. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have so far. Now we've completed the design of the square, but we still need to do the final 3 rounds. So I'm going to go ahead and hide my loose ends, and then we'll start the 3 final rounds with the color that we're going to use to join all of these squares together. The last 3 rounds are going to be using set A rounds 1, 2, and 3, and I'll just step you through each of them as we go. We begin by working a slip knot, and we're going to join. Let's go ahead and get that on the hook. We're going to join to any corner of the round, and we're going to work 2 single crochets, chain 2, and 2 more single crochets. Now we're going to work a single crochet in the next 38 stitches. Make sure that you start with that first single crochet of the round. Let's get all the strands this time. Let's try that one more time. There we go. So make sure you start with the first single crochet and single crochet in each stitch all the way across. There should be 38 of these individual stitches that you're working the single crochets in. So go ahead and do that to the next corner. So I did get 38 stitches to the next corner, and then we get to the next corner, we work 2 single crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more single crochets. Whoops. And then after that, we're back to a single crochet in each stitch. Don't forget that first stitch there, it's kind of hidden. Otherwise you would accidentally crochet over that. So go ahead and work this all the way around. At the end of the first base round or finishing round, go ahead and join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet of the round. Now you can fasten off and rejoin, or you can do what I'm doing. I'm going to just slip stitch in the next stitch and slip stitch to that chain 2 space so that I can do round 2. I'm going to go ahead and chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Notice that I'm just doing 1 single crochet in each single crochet, chain 2, single crochet for that corner instead of doing 2 single crochets. Now we're going to do single crochet in each stitch across. Make sure that you don't forget those 2 single crochets that were in the corner. Okay, so go ahead and finish that all the way around. You should have, at the end of this round, each side should have 44 single crochets on each side, and you have the 4 chain 2 corners. This round ends with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round, and I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch again to that chain 2 space so that I can begin round number 3. I'm going to go ahead and chain 1. I'm going to work 2 single crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more single crochets into that very first corner, and actually into every corner, and make sure you pull that back so that you don't miss any stitches. You're going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around from corner to corner, and that's including the 2 corner stitches here and the 2 corner stitches at the other end. You should have a total of 48 stitches per round. At the end of this round, join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round, and go ahead and fasten off. and go ahead and hide those loose ends. And that completes the 7th square. And if you like this project and some of the others, I just asked that if you would just go ahead and hit that little subscribe button on my channel so that you don't miss any more of the new content that I have coming your way. God bless. Bye-bye.